How are you doing, gardeners? Ed Snyder with Fresh Picked Acres of Kansas. I'm happy to have so many new viewers that's watching us, and special thanks, a special shout out to the folks from Lenexa. Thank you for welcoming myself to your market. It's been a lot of fun. I wanted to show you, for many of you, some of our corn, some of our field out here, and we're doing a little farm tour. I'm also, for those of you interested in keeping raccoons out of your sweet corn, I'm offering, we're showing our raccoon fence and that type of thing, electric fence up for that, and it does a pretty good job of keeping the raccoons out. I got a couple of them that's broken in since this film and everything, but join me out here. Glad to have you along, and if you like these types of videos, hit that like button and subscribe, and come grow with us. All right, so I'm going to put up an electric fence for the raccoon. Going to get that strung, so getting my different things together. Got my grounding rod. I need to get a post driver, get a few things done here, but I think we're in pretty good shape all together. We'll head out there to the field next and see if we can't at least get it strung, get it around the fence 3 times. You want a fence at 4 inches of height, 8 inches of height, and 12 inches of height. That's your anti-coon zone. So we're gonna run 0.1 joules to kind of keep the raccoons honest with our farm. So let's get on that. Set up my electric fence for raccoons. There's something we gotta have on our posts to keep the current going around the property. If your electric fence touches, say, this metal post that I have on all 4 corners, you'll be essentially what they call grounding it out. In other words, you lose the effectiveness of your electric fence. You ground it out. So grounded it. So what we gotta have is items called insulators. Now, on the beginning corner of my fence, I always like using this style of insulator to go around the corner. I like it very much. But also in your inline posts and on the posts that I'm not doing as much, these are your normal insulators, just plastic. These can either fit on a T-post, or they make those that'll actually slide up and down on your rebar or your fiberglass rod post. So right now, what we have to do is we're interested in making sure we get our insulators in the proper position. And we also want to make sure, like I said, the secret is 4 inches, 8 inches, and 12 inches. So basically, here's my mark right here on my post. So I'm gonna go ahead and wire this up, and we'll put a couple more twists, tightening it up over here on this side. So there I have my fence post in position for the first leg around. I'll do this 2 more times. This particular one I don't need, so I'm gonna remove this insulator. Just gotta kind of loosen it up here. Here we go. And I'll put 2 more of these on. One more at the 8 inch and one at the 12 inch. Now that I have my insulators on to begin with, I'm not worried about tightening anything up, but I just have to get things started. So this is where I kind of give myself a generous tail here. And let's go ahead for now and kind of wire this on, not permanent, but let's have something with some strength. And basically right now I'm just going to walk backwards, and I'm going to come all the way around my property, and I'm going to start hooking it up. I like to start on my 12-inch height because all the wires are going to be kind of like laying on the ground. I can go ahead and get this one kind of set up in the proper position, and it won't be in my way for the next two lines. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. I'm not worried about this sliding right now. We'll get it back in the proper position here when I get some tension on it. So let's begin. So on my corner post, I do like to use steel posts, but this particular post is not my corner. My corner post actually sits up there, but due to the triangulation of this part of my field, I'm going to put some pressure as I come around this corn. So what I do is I add another steel post right here, because when I go to put the pressure, I want to make sure there that the fiberglass rods don't pull out of the ground, right? I don't want them to move. So I do that by securing it to a steel post as I come around, and I change angles or something like that. This field actually just has the 5th post here because everything else is a straight shot, but I can't make this bend, and I want to leave that area kind of open as much as I can for my pickup to back in. So this is the reason why I elected to go ahead. I could have moved this post out farther, but then I'd be in my driveway per se, in the waterway. So that's why I did what I did. Everything is mowed up nice and tight. Now when I go down here to we're going to stretch this fence, make it as taut as we can by hand. But how we really get the fence taunter is once I have my 3 lines here, we'll simply go ahead and we can move our fiberglass rods out a little bit. That way, if I move enough rods out after my line's been stretched straight, what'll happen is it'll have some nice tension on it without me having to have, you know, a big old fence tightener. We're not making anything permanent. We're making something to keep a raccoon out. He's gonna, if he wants in bad enough, he can still get in. Electric fences pulse energy through the line, so it's not a continuous amount of electricity. It shoots 10 joules at them in pulses, and that's what we're doing here. So I have my line all the way around the field. When Delia gets back from market, we'll tighten it up some, and we'll add our 2nd and 3rd line. It's easier with the 2nd person on this job, just to be able to make sure that I have tension on the line and I don't end up with too much of a floppy mess. So I'll just wait for Delia when for that, and we'll get this fence finished, and it won't take us too long. We've done quite a few of them. So just need to install my grounding rod over here, which I'll do that once I got everything out of the way. I'll put the grounding rod down, and then my solar charger will sit right here aiming to the south. So that's the game plan. Well, Delia and I have been really busy, and we have our raccoon prevention all up today, putting our wires at 4 inches off the ground, 12 inches off the ground. I mean 4, 8, and 12. And this is a 6 volt rechargeable, and 0.15 joule output. It's a 10 mile solar fence. So we haven't had any. You can see the Sweetcorn is getting there. I mean, it's time for it to fill out. We just watered this the other day. They don't really have any ears yet, but they're getting awfully close. I should have had the fence up a few days ago, but we have a bad storm coming, and we want to get this thing in before the weather got too bad. So this is my early planting corn. This is the stuff that's, you know, I'm 10 days out or less. That's all there is to it. Possibly I'll even be harvesting some of this. Today is Tuesday. Might be something in there Saturday. Might be. I doubt it, but I'm definitely looking into Monday, Tuesday of the following week. We did the same thing with our other solar charger on the bigger field. We have a 15-mile fence. Solar fence charger over there. So I'll show you what we did, and I'm going to show you how to test your fence, how to test it without actually grabbing a hold of it. It's very simple. So if you want to grab a hold of it, it'll let you go, but it might smart. So let's show you how to test your fence. But again, this is not going to keep deer out, although if a deer puts their nose to it, which is sometimes common, is they'll stick their nose on it, they'll get a little buzz, and then they'll stay out. I've seen that. Yeah, that happened last year, to where all of a sudden the only thing they did was reach across the fence and bite at the corn from the outside edge. They kind of quit going inside. So and there's our first part of our first planting over there. That corn is actually, most of that corn is actually takes an additional 7 to 10 days to mature on that batch. So this is our third plant here. Let's go ahead and test this battery. I'll show you what this one is as far as it. You do need to have a grounding rod. So that's what that is. That's a grounding rod, and you put that in the green one. This is, I'm sorry, I said 15 miles. This is an 18 mile, 0.2 output joules. And the battery will have a 0.25 stored joules. So, and then of course you have your hot wire, and it hooks right down to your fence. And all you got to do there is just make sure that the hot comes down, and you wrap it around that wire, then the second wire, then the third wire. Let's go ahead and I'll set this up, and we'll test this. Now when you go to look at this, because this pulses, you're going to see this red light just flash for an instant, just an instant. So you're not going to have a very long time to look at it. So I'm using this Zarba fence checker, and then you take this end right here, and let's push this into the ground. That's our ground. And then the next thing is, we did it without touching the wire ourselves, and you can see the flashes up here at 7,000 volt, the 7V. It just flashed. That's the pulse. We can check the second one. It's doing the same thing, and our third, and it's doing the same thing. So they're all getting a bite of electricity. It isn't very long, but it's long enough there to, to deter. Now let's hope that no coons get in, or possums, skunks get in here and start feeding on the corn. Then we got to go to other methods, but we're trying to avoid that. That's the idea of putting up an electric fence along the edge. You're going to want to keep it mowed. You're going to want to kind of spray with the contact spray around the edges, Roundup or what have you, and make sure there that you kill the grass underneath. while your corn is being protected. Once the corn is protected, then, or you know, once it's completed, we don't worry about it, and we'll pull the fence. This is what we're going to use this year for our children's corn maze. And you know, with sweet corn, they can easily see through it. However, it's a lot of fun for them to, you know, as a parent, you can kind of halfway watch them go through the corn, so that's still fun for everybody involved. So that we'll leave the corn up after I've harvested the sweet corn. But yeah, anyway, I'm glad we got the two electric fences up today before the coons got in. So we ought to be in pretty good shape. Hey folks, if you like these types of videos, do me a favor and hit that like button, and go and hit that subscribe. Come grow with us.